104.5 XLO, New England's best variety. It's Jen and Frank.
We are live in the Clinton Savings Bank studio. You may hear him on the program every once in a while, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who is CNN's chief medical officer. As we were talking a few minutes ago, Jen and I are not going to get into this hype stuff. We want to make sure you have the facts. So if something comes out of our mouth, you can guarantee it's true. We want you to trust us. You have for all these years. So we're never going to violate that trust.
And we had access to Dr. Gupta, and he's with us this morning. Hello, Dr. Gupta. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
So we wanted to talk to you this morning. We wanted an authority to talk about coronavirus, COVID-19. And, we've been on the air with our show. We've been trying to have a very measured response and just, provide people with factual information.
Yeah, because there's a lot of disinformation out there. So you can you give us, in a nutshell, what people should and should not be concerned about?
I really think that there has been a lot of misinformation about this. What I would say is that there is a virus that, started circulating around the world 3 months ago. We are seeing increased numbers in the United States, and as we test more and more, what's likely to be the headlines over the next few days is that the number of people who have been exposed and infected by this virus will go up. Not necessarily because the staggering number of people are currently getting infected, but because we haven't been testing thus far. 80% of the people who get exposed roughly are going to recover from this and really have no long-term issues. About 15 to 20% are more likely to get seriously or critically ill, and we know who they are. They are people who are elderly in their 70s and 80s and people who have some pre-existing conditions. And in particular, because I think about this as a doctor, those conditions are heart disease, lung disease, diabetes, and hypertension, which affects a lot of people in this country.
Why diabetes?
So, diabetes is interesting. It's really because people with high circulating blood sugar tend to have their immune systems a bit compromised by that. So they're more likely to be susceptible to infections overall, and the same is the case with the coronavirus. So when the virus gets in the system, it's more likely to be able to replicate itself easier than in somebody who has a more robust immune system.
So, Dr. Gupta, we're all using hand sanitizer. We're all washing our hands like crazy. When you're sneezing, would your recommendation be just to sneeze into a tissue and then immediately throw it away?
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. I think if you're sick, and I realize this is hard for a lot of people, but if you're sick, if you could stay home, you're a potential source of spread at that point. Coughing and sneezing, if you're feeling feverish, if you feel like you have some of these symptoms, you should stay home.
Now, the one question we're getting all the time from our listeners is, and this will be the final question we'll ask you, travel. Is it safe to travel or not safe to travel?
Well, I'm traveling tomorrow. I'll get on a plane tomorrow. I'm 50 years old. I would not recommend my parents who are in their late 70s to travel right now. My dad has heart disease, so in particular for him. But I think that if you are traveling, a lot of people are going on spring break, I realize, next week. I think there's two issues to sort of be aware of. One is that things I just mentioned, just be more mindful of your surroundings. Don't touch surfaces that you don't have to touch. Try and disinfect places around yourself. I don't shake hands right now. I think simple things like that actually go a long way. And again, if you're sick, stay home. Avoid sick people. I think the other thing is just keep in mind that if you travel to a place where you're going to be in some sort of gathering of people, and then subsequently someone in that gathering of people is found to be positive, diagnosed as having the coronavirus, there is a possibility that they may come back and find out whether or not you had direct contact with this person. If you did, you may be asked to self-quarantine for up to a couple of weeks. So it's not just necessarily the health concern here, which is obviously the biggest concern, but it is the disruption of your life concern as well. So travel if you already have plans and you feel like you really want to do it, but just be mindful of these things and be mindful that other people's behavior may affect your life going forward, not just in terms of health, but in terms of your quarantine or not quarantine.
Yeah, and I think this is helpful, Dr. Gupta, because I think a lot of people have heightened anxiety because of the stories they're hearing, and we're just trying to get the information out there. And I think this is good information that you're passing along.
Thank you. Yeah, it's changing. We are learning a lot as we go along here. I mean, there's a lot of things we come on and talk to you guys about where we say, hey, we have 20 years of data on this. Here's my level of confidence in telling you this. Everything I've just told you, I feel very good about telling you, but this is a novel virus. 3 months ago, we knew nothing about this virus, and now we have to learn as much as we can very rapidly.
Well, we know you're a busy man, and thank you very, very much for taking the time.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for the conversation.
Bye. Bye-bye.